Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lifestyle Based Healing Podcast. Today, it's myself again, Dylan, and my co-host and mom, Robin. Say hi, Mom.
Hi, everyone.
Today, we're talking about something that has been murmurs and tremors in our client pool. They're all afraid because we're getting in November here, close to December, about the holidays and holiday weight gain. And so we wanted to dive into that topic. And Mom, can you share a few stories that people are telling you?
Yes, I would love to. This is what made me think about this because it's been a common theme this last week when I meet with my clients and actually kind of everywhere I go. So many of my clients have had much success in losing weight and feeling great, getting their energy back and just, really doing well. And they really are concerned about going through the holidays and undoing all of the great stuff that they did, primarily gaining back that weight. And it's really a common theme. And I think, and I understand why. I mean, the holidays are definitely laden with tons of food, decadent, yummy stuff. But I also noticed it when I was, at Pilates and we're all planking there and trying to pass the time, and someone starts telling me how she started her holiday feasting early by starting her morning with carrot cake for breakfast and wanted to know if that was a healthy food to eat for breakfast before Pilates. People asking these questions. And I was like, no, it doesn't really count as a vegetable, but, um, you know, what else did you eat with it? And she says, well, no, I'm just starting my sugar binge now. And so, I know I'm gonna have to work out harder at the end of the 6 weeks. And so I really started thinking about this topic because I was like, it was almost like people expect the holidays to put on the pounds for them. And, the problem is we often don't lose the weight. And so I started kind of wondering about what is actually the science say? Do people actually gain weight during the holidays? And so I kind of started looking, and the average weight gain for Americans is about 3/4 to 2 pounds over that 6 week period between Thanksgiving and New Year's. And if you're overweight, it tends to be a little bit more like the 5 pound range. The problem isn't that 3/4 to 5 pounds. It's the fact that we never lose it. And then the next year comes and we gain a little bit more. And then if you're prone, think about it, if you're prone to overindulge in that 6 weeks, we have holidays all through the year. You have birthdays and you have Easter and you have Valentine's Day. And so really what I work with my clients to do is let's keep these holidays in check. We want you to be able to have an enjoyable time, enjoy the different foods that you maybe don't typically get, and still reach your goals. That's really what we want to talk about today, and I have some tips to help you get there.
Nice. And what are the mechanisms by which we gain weight over the holidays?
Well, food, of course. Okay. Think about what the holidays look like. I mean, we have, tables full of food. Everybody brings a specialty, sometimes more. People contribute, that sort of thing. And overabundance is sort of the theme of the holidays. And then we typically socialize more. And so we're going to more outings where there's more food and drink. Typically, alcohol consumption increases and a lot more desserts than we typically do. And we all want to indulge. And so that's number one. So we just overconsume. But the other things that go in, that play into this weight gain is the fact that there's a lot of stress that goes along with the holidays. A lot of people are short on time. They're trying to squeeze in, grocery shopping, cooking all these large meals, cleaning the house to host people, or, and when you bring the holidays with, Christmas around, if you do presents, you have that. And so the stress levels go up. I had a client yesterday telling me his blood sugars were out of control because he was trying to drive around and the traffic had gotten so much worse already. And it was just already starting to affect him. And so, that stress does make a difference because when you have stress, you have higher levels of cortisol. And when you have higher levels of cortisol, it's really hard to continue to lose weight. It's much easier to hold on to that weight and gain weight. So that's another factor. Another one is lack of sleep. There is a lot of correlation between sleep and weight gain because if you like stress, how it affects our hormones, lack of sleep does the same thing. And so, and you think about it, we're staying out later, we're maybe sleeping in if we have the day off, we're, not keeping our regular routines, and all of those things affect our sleep and, and then we've had, if you drink alcohol, that affects your sleep. Some of the foods that you'll be eating might give you digestive issues, so that's going to affect things as well. So, yes, it's the food, but it's these other factors too that we often don't even think about and how those affect our weight. And they're equally valid. And then you add on top of that less movement. Okay. And so if you're not exercising because you're tired, because you haven't slept, you're out of whack and you're stressed out. And so now you're more fatigued as well because it's a vicious circle. And so it just is one of these things where if I could tell people one of the things is kind of try to keep your routine. Food's kind of a secondary thing, it's kind of by itself, but these other things we can keep as a routine and kind of hold
Yeah, it's
those
kind of
intact.
surprising to me. I guess maybe it shouldn't be, but it makes sense that it's a more stressful time of year, even though that you have maybe a little more downtime or time with family. I could see where that would also kind of Uno reverse and be more stressful to, if depending on your family dynamics or what you've got going on. So
Yeah,
that
and
makes
then you
total
throw
sense.
yeah, and then you throw travel into it too, right? If people are
Hmm.
traveling to go see their family, and travel in and of itself can be stressful, and it can also throw you out of whack if you're changing time zones and that sort of thing. So
So
it
you mentioned at the beginning of
definitely,
this some resignation to the fact that people are just going to gain weight when they enter the holidays. It's just a fact of life. It's like gravity, it's inevitable, and they kind of just brace themselves for that inevitable weight gain. What are your thoughts on that? Why is that in people's heads?
yeah, I think that is, and that was something that I noticed in some of the voices, the people I talk to, is that it's just like it's out of their control. Okay, this weight gain's out of their control because the food is just has this hold over them. The holidays have this hold over them. And, what I'd like people to understand is you have control over this. It's not like the 10 pounds shows up on your scale uninvited. It was like something had to happen there for that to happen, whether it was just not enough stress and sleep and all those things. But I want, people to realize that doesn't have to happen. And really, the best strategy is to have a strategy, make a plan around it. And there is so many things that we do during the holidays that really don't have to happen. Okay, that
So
you
what are
can,
some things that people can do to actually take control of this inevitable weight gain and either stop it or just actually even lose weight during the holidays?
yeah, I have some great tips. So the first one is the idea about mindset. Like I said, people are kind of have this resignation around it's just going to happen, and it's like I want you to ask yourself, does it really have to happen? And if you're if you are already on that path to better health and losing weight and feeling better, this is the time to really recommit to those goals and ask yourself, how committed are you to those goals? I like to say to my clients that there's really no food that tastes as good as good health feels. And when you start really resonating with that, you'll get what I mean. It's just like, you're right, food, it's great, but it doesn't have this hold over me. And I feel too good to eat something that I'm going to regret or feel bad after eating. So that's the first thing. And just, the other thing is really focus on how far you've come if you're on that journey. And just like, do you want to keep going? You want to hold still? What is your goal through the holidays? Is it mainly to not gain weight? Then figure out, okay, well, what's my line? Can I eat, just one meal without worrying about anything? Or am I going to try to, eat a few things that I really like at every place I go? And what does the calendar look like? So really make a plan around that. And then, you know, ask yourself, be very discerning with your food. And we'll talk about that. Well, let me go and talk about it now. I have this saying of, Will 5 bites of yum sabotage your weight loss? Probably not. So I looked up to see how many bites does the average person take to eat a piece of pie, and it was 5 bites. So that one slice of pie probably will not undo all your weight loss efforts. But if you have a piece of pie at every event you go to, and now you're not sleeping and you're stressed out and you're not exercising and you're eating mashed potatoes and gravy and you're eating, all these other foods that you don't normally eat, that's when it starts to happen. So be very discerning about what you choose and make sure it's your favorite. Make sure it's the thing that you really want to enjoy. And then the other thing is do a 3 bite rule. This idea of just 3 bites of a food, because what we know, and they've studied this, is that that first bite of something, oh, it tastes delicious. It tastes absolutely delicious. And you're like, oh, just wonderful. And then the second bite tastes good, not as quite as good as the first bite. And the third bite, a little less than the second bite. And by bites 4, 5, and thereon, it's lost its luster. But we continue to eat out of habit, and we continue to eat hoping to regain that first bite. And then even the second slice, right? So, one of the great things you can do is just say, maybe I'll just do 3 bites and taste it and see how it feels, because those 3 bites are the best 3 bites you're ever going to have of a food. So that might be a good technique as well.
Yeah, it's sort of that rule of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And maybe this isn't like a really good example or analogy, but when you talk about drug use, they talk about chasing the dragon. Like your high is never going to be the same as like the first time you use it, and that's one of the things that gets people hooked, right? So I guess it kind of applies also to, Thanksgiving pie.
Well, it does. And what people don't realize is there are a lot of foods that do have addictive qualities, and that's why we want them so badly. And we just want to keep eating them. And so because they do, they kind of hook us. And then think about it too. A lot of these foods, especially at the holidays, are prepared so beautifully. And so we eat with our eyes as well. And so I mean, many of you listening have probably had that sensation of something looks so beautiful, and then you eat it, and it's just so disappointing. It's so disappointing, and you keep eating it, hoping it's going to get better, and it just doesn't, because they don't match the beauty of how it looked, and then the taste they don't match, and you don't want to waste, the room in your stomach, because there's only so much on something you don't want to eat, okay, that you don't enjoy. Don't do it. I mean,
Or
and
your
yet,
three
I know
bite
you don't want to
budget,
throw it
right?
away, but throw it away. So.
Yeah, you also don't want to waste your 3 bite budget.
Yeah, there you go. The other thing is don't skip meals. I think that idea that people often will have is they're going to save up, they're not going to eat anything all day so they can just like eat, just eat everything in the big meal really doesn't help you. They're trying to make room in their stomach. I mean, your stomach is so big, and so it is going to only hold so much, whether you eat earlier or don't eat earlier, okay? And really you want to kind of keep things as normal as possible, and you don't want to show up starving. That's a recipe for disaster, because you show up starving, everything smells so good, everything looks so good, and you're busy talking and enjoying the event, and you're eating all the way. So you're eating more than you normally would because you're so hungry. So you're eating faster, and you're eating not discerningly. You're looking at everything's going to taste good at this point, and you pretty much fill up on the appetizers before you ever get to the dinner. And then you stuff in the dinner too. So don't skip meals. And then my favorite that I like to do is to take a dish to share. And so, if I'm not hosting, I always take a dish to contribute to the meal, because I don't like going empty-handed. And I take something that I can eat, that I'm going to enjoy eating and not feel bad about eating. And then I know it's not going to make me feel bad after I eat. And I can eat something that I like, that I share with other people. I make sure, don't tell them that it's healthy. Just tell them that it's one of your family favorites, and share it. And then you can, definitely kind of take care of a lot of your hunger with something how it's that it's healthier for you. And then you can maybe choose some of the other sides or something that you really want to try.
Is the reason why you're telling them it's not, or you're not telling them that it's healthy because you don't want to open that can of worms?
Well, that is a good trick because people then everybody has an opinion about what healthy is and what are you doing. And not people don't want to share that they're on a weight loss or a health journey because then they get a lot of unsolicited advice. And typically, if you tell somebody it's healthy, they assume they already have an idea of that it's going to taste bad. And so if you just say, oh, this is a family favorite, my family loves this, and this was always something we had at Thanksgiving or at Christmas, people will either try it and not like it, that's fine, more for you, or they're going to try it and go, wow, this is really good. Your family used to eat this? Absolutely. And so I just think it's a win-win in both those situations. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So if I was to kind of summarize what I'm hearing, firstly, go in with a plan. That's something in general I coach people on is don't just wing it. Don't just shoot from the hip. You should, be consciously planning out your meals, planning out ahead of time so that you avoid stressors. And so you avoid getting cornered in a place where you're either starving or reacting to things, right? That's going to take care of like the majority of the problems you have when you're doing weight loss or any sort of lifestyle change. And that obviously applies here in the holidays, right? You're trying to plan ahead for meals, plan ahead for, bringing things to potential occasions. The other thing I'm hearing is a lot of the weight loss comes from not just those one meals or that one slice of pie, even though that's where we tend to focus. It's all those other little things that sneak in along with the holidays, right? The cookies that people bring to work and the treats that end up, staying at your house after the Thanksgiving or the Christmas meal or whatever it is. And so, making sure to limit those. And then lastly, generally like when you're in the moment, trying to be really mindful about the eating and not just, gorging yourself or something like that.
yeah, all those things. And then be aware of the alcohol because that lowers your willpower, so to speak. And again, get enough sleep, move your body. And last, if you choose, it's just too much, you're like, I just want to enjoy the holidays, then do that. It's always your choice. Eat everything you want. It's one meal. Okay. And then the next day, the next meal, you have an opportunity to get back on track. So then just get back on track with eating, the way you were eating. This is what I, tell a lot of my clients that it's like, oh, I just really want to enjoy it. Then do that. But then gets back on track when you get home and you're back in your own environment and you're able to do that. And it works beautifully.
Awesome. Well, anything else you want to add? Anything else you missed?
No, I think I really hope this was helpful because I, the weight gain doesn't have to happen over the holidays and you can enjoy the holidays really well by focusing on, playing games and the family and all the things that are traditional for you. The food just a small part of that, yet we often make that the biggest part. And it's really what's bringing everybody together is, the holiday in itself, and we don't need to focus on the food so much. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. If you want further help or information, you can find us at therevitalizecenter.com. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.